So today we will start with my exception handling. Now, what is exception handling and why we need it? So in Python, if you see, I have two types of error. One, my syntax errors, and second, my exceptions. Okay. So syntax errors are my parsing error. So whenever you're writing something syntactically, if that is incorrect, my Python will search, check first that, and it will show me the error that something is missing. Say parenthesis is missing or a quote is missing. So that is one. Second is my runtime exceptions. So let's say if I say something like this only print a. So in Python 3, so this is my syntax error. Let's say I'm saying equal to 10, something like this. When I'm printing a, if I do not put parentheses, this will throw me a syntax error, right? But now, if I do something like this, syntactically this is correct. So I'm writing a print statement and providing a parenthesis, and I'm saying I want a variable a, right? The issue here is that a is not defined, right? So if I run it, it will give me a name error, right? So my Python, there are some inbuilt identifiers for this exception. So if you see, so this is an inbuilt identifier for my name error. Now, from where I can get all the identifiers if I need. So you can check. So you can see these are all the inbuilt identifier for my different exceptions. If you use help, you will be able to read what all these are all about. Okay, and these are defined under my built-in function. Okay, now how to handle exceptions in my Python. So when we want exception handling, which means so if there is an error, my Python shows where in which line there is a mistake and all the information about it, right? If it's a user, we are not actually supposed to show that, right? So only an error message should be displayed. This is something which we are trying to achieve. Now that I can do in my Python using my try and except block. Okay. So you just have to define a statement which is possibly can throw an exception inside of your try block, and you will handle this exception. Take a simple example. I'm saying print 10 divided by 0. Okay. Now if you see, if I just comment this, this throws me 0 division error, right? So division by 0 is not possible. So how to handle this? So the statement which can throw exception should be inside of a try block, right? So I'm writing inside try block. For except block, I'm just saying print you cannot divide by 0, something like this. Now when my Python will try to execute it, it will found that there is an exception in this code. So once there is an exception, at this moment it will directly switch to the except block to execute it. So in this case, if I write anything after this, this will not get executed. Okay, hi Bhushan. So if there is exception, it will defaultly go to your except block. All the statements which I have written after my exception, after the statement which caused the exception, will not get executed. Okay. Now let's. I want to add one more exception here. I'm saying print A. Now if you see, so this time also this is giving me the same exception. The same, it's going to accept block and it's displaying me the same error message, right? Now this can get confusing that if there are two exceptions and you're writing a single except block and you have a generic error message, it will be a bit difficult to debug it for developers and it will be difficult to get actual root cause of the code, right? So if you write just a try and the except block, that can handle your all the exceptions inside of your try block, yes, but that is not the recommended way. Okay. Now, what the recommended way is you will say try, you will write a code which can throw exception. You can write multiple except blocks here. Okay. Now, for each exception, you will write a separate except block for this. So here you can say right zero division error. Here I'm saying variable not defined.
So once it finds the exception, then it will not execute the other statement. Right?
No.
Print is an exception.
No. So now if you see, I am writing print A. Now there is exception. It will search for this name error where you have defined. Once this is executed, it will not execute this zero division. Okay. Now if I comment this, so this will give me you cannot divide by zero, but it will not execute this name error, right? But if you if you create some another exception which is not yet handled, then that will be a problem. Let's say I'm creating the list having one element. Let's say true element, right? While printing, I'm saying L of 5. Okay. Now obviously this will show me that index error, right? Now this is not handled. So here I'm writing exception for zero division error, name error, right? Now in this case, it will not work. So now this will work as a normal execution. It will show the same like index error last. So you have to accept all the probable exceptions. Okay. If not, you can just write a generic except block at the end. That in case by if you miss something and still you got exception, you can say something. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So the important concept is flow of my try exit block. So if everything is fine, it will just execute the try block and it will move ahead. My except statement will not be executed. But if there is execution at that statement only, it will terminate. It will search for the particular except block and it will start the execution from there. Okay.
But there can be user-defined exceptions.
Yeah, yeah, we can. Okay. So clear this thing.
Yes.
Okay. I have another concept that is optional else block. So my Python provides else block for everything except classes. Okay. Now what is this else block? Okay. Now my Python have an optional else block for my try and exit also. Now when this will get executed? So my Python will go into this else block only when there is no exception. Okay. Now I'm commenting these things. Now I have only simple print statement. Okay. If I create an exception, I cannot divide by 0. Okay. Now this is mainly added just to remove the dependency of writing multiple try blocks. Okay. That if for one statement you are writing one try block, inside of that you are writing another try block. Just to avoid that, you have a else block also, that if everything is fine, just do this thing. That's okay. The else thing. So else block will only execute if there is no exception. Okay. Now except block will execute only if there is an exception, right? We have this else statement. Just if I have, I'll be writing multiple try blocks if needed, right? A try block inside a try block, right? Now this is, so I'll be writing two statements here and I'll be writing two statements inside here, right? Now to avoid this thing, if everything is fine, if this is fine, then only execute this part. You can, in order to do such logic, you can use your else to avoid this try inside your try. Okay. Now, as my other languages, my Python exception supports finally also. Okay. Once this is, I'll just revise it again. I have finally block also. Finally block will get executed regardless of any exception. Okay. Now even there is exception, there is no exception. Okay. The reason we have finally block is, so whenever we are dealing with some resources, let's say we have opened file or we are using a database connection or we are working on a remote computer. So if you write that inside a try block, if there is some connection issue or issue with your file, right, you will handle it using exception. But once your operations are done, either way you have to close the connection or you have to close the files. So that thing you have to do every time, right? To maintain the concurrent, to maintain everything in a correct way. So the such statements you can add inside of your finally block. Okay. So I have my try.
So to clean up.
Exactly, to clean up activities. So I have my try block, except block, optional else block, and the optional finally block. Okay. So all right. If you want to manually raise some exception, I'm writing a try block. I'm saying raise okay. So in there any, no, this is not a user defined, right? So these are the inbuilt exception. But if you want to raise any inbuilt exception on any particular condition, I have a keyword called raise and I'll just specify the exception, right? Now coming back to my user defined exception. Okay. So all you have to do, so intention is try to keep things simple. Okay. So you will be writing one class. Let's say value less than something like this. I'm creating an exception. So what I want to do, I'm just saying a is equals to 10. Okay. I want if a is less than 20, then it should raise this particular exception. Okay. So I'm saying if statement, if a less than 20, this is true, this will go inside this. Now how to raise the exception? I have keyword raise and you have to type the exception name, right? So this is what I'm raising. Now let's define. Okay. So I'll be writing one class that is value less than something. This is my exception mean. Main thing you have to do.
So this is an exception.
Yeah. Okay. So you have to extend the exceptions class. Okay. It's a small concept. So I'll be using inheritance here. Okay. Either way, you can just say pass here. Okay. You will not have to write anything, and you will just handle this particular exception.
But can't we define that except now?
Okay.
Except.
So this error, so this exception should be defined first somewhere. Okay. Now you can accept this. So what I'm doing, I have defined this exception. This is my user defined exception, right? Now what I'm saying, if a is less than 12, 20, then raise this particular exception. So value less than. Okay. Now you have to handle this exception also. Except value less than something like that.
That is just to define the.
Exactly.
So without defining that, I cannot.
No. So there is nothing called value less than at the moment, right? There's nothing like this. So you have to define it. So standard way is, if you're writing any application, you will create one file in which you will define all the user defined exceptions, and you will inherit that class. Okay. So standard way will be, you will be saying something like this: class value less than, and it will be exception. Now your next class which you will be defining, let's say value, and then you will inherit from this particular value less than class. Okay. So your all the exceptions will be one file. So you have to define one particular class. Now let's say you want to print a message also with this. Okay. You have to, so it will be normal class operation. You have to define the init method for this. Okay. So what I'm doing, so whenever I'll raise the exception, I'll pass something message or something like this. Now, as I said, this is a class, you're creating object. So when you create object, it will defaultly give a call to your init method, right? So I'm passing a message, it will accept this message and it will store this particular message, right? Now, if you want to accept this message, you will just say, we'll create an object, let's say value less than as e, and here you will print e dot. Okay, so this is the message. Okay. So this is optional part that if you want to pass a particular message with that, then you can do. Otherwise, if we just remove this and just write pass, then that also.
So E is an object.
Exactly. So we are creating the object of E of this particular class, and then we are just accessing the variables which are storing. Yeah, that is not required. Clear? So this is how I can declare my user-defined exceptions. Okay. So just for practice, let's say I have a list. Okay. You have to go on printing a tuple, something like 10, 20, 20, 30, 30, 40, go on. In the end, you will reach at point something 60, none, which will throw you an exception. Okay. Now you have to handle this particular exception. this will give index error, I guess, like this, and handle this exception. So instead, without exception, it should print all this. Okay.
You want to set it in tuple.
Yeah. So I want something like 10, 20, 20, 30, 30, 40. Meanwhile, I'll just revise the things. Okay. So in my Python, I have two types of errors mainly. One, my any idea why we need regular expressions?
To
Not really.
Not really. Okay. So I'll be needing this regular expression first for pattern matching and extracting some data. Okay. Now, if you say use cases, so for my pattern matching, my email validation, right? Then my URL validation, my valid IP validation, then my PAN card number validation, because everything has a fixed format, right? Then valid date. Okay. Now, in terms of extracting some data, I can say, let's say I have a file which contains name, address, and a phone number of all the people. From that, if I just want a phone numbers, all phone numbers, if I'm looking for, I can extract all the phone numbers, right? Then if I want a specific text from a file, I can search inside the entire file and I can get that text. Now, in order to do all these things, I'll be using my regular expression. So in my Python, so if anyone interested in learning Django, so regular expression is one of the most important topic for my Django. The reason is everything is based on URL. So in Django, I have to specify for each page what will be the URL, right? And that URL you have to specify using your regular expressions. In data science, you will be mainly using it for extracting some pattern from your files. Okay. So we will see what is regular expression, how to define it in Python, and how to use it. Now, to use my regular expression, I have to say import RE. Now, RE is a module for regular expression. If it's working fine or not, you want to check it just with the help of RE. If it shows all the function, which means it's imported, so this is inbuilt module for me, containing a lot of functions. Okay. If it's working fine, then you can go ahead. Okay. Now, if I say regular expression, I have to think one, I need a string in which I'll be searching for a particular pattern. Okay, first thing. Second thing, I need a pattern. I should know what I'm looking for. And then I need something to search for that pattern. Okay. Now to define a pattern, I have a method called compile. Okay. So as it's a method of this module RE, I have to specify that re.compile. In parentheses, you have to specify whatever pattern you are looking for. Okay. Now, before going into patterns, we will see some of the important concepts for my regular expressions. Okay. So I have a period, I have a dot operator. Okay. I have something called character class. I have something called I have something for digits, then I have few operators like star, plus, then this, I have dollar, I have question mark. Right. Now all these are really useful to define a pattern. Okay. Now we will go one by one. Now what is this period is for? This dot operator will be used to match up anything. Okay. Now what I'm saying, I'm creating a pattern re dot compile with just a dot. Okay. Now this will be used to match up with anything. So this will match with any alphabet, any digit, any special character, anything. Okay. Now, so I have defined my pattern, right? Let me consider any string. So I'm saying string is equals to Python. Okay. So I have defined my regular expression. Now I have a string. Okay. So first method is re dot find. Now what this find all method will do, it will take a regular expression as your first argument, and the string in which you want to search for that regular expression is the second argument. Okay. Now it will search for all the patterns for over the entire string, and it will return you the list of all the matching elements. Okay. So I'm saying result equals to re dot find all r comma s. Let me just print the okay. Let me just comment this. Okay. As I said, my dot operator will match with everything. Okay. Now this dot is for a single character. Okay. This is not for the entire string. So it will check if this P matches with this dot or not. Now dot will match anything. So that's why as a matching element first is P. Then Y. Okay. Y. T. T. Now let's say I'm writing 999. It will match up with that also. Okay. Now.
So basically, just like
Anything. So it's not actually complete string, it's actually individual element.
yeah.
Only one character we are specifying. Now, let's say I'm saying A to Z. Okay. Now, if I specify anything within my square brackets, so that is called as my character class. Okay, that is my. Okay. Now, this pattern will search if whatever you are specifying in a string is from A to Z or not. Okay, that is it. It will check for my characters only. So in the same example, I am saying A to Z. Again, this will search for a single character. It will check with a single character each time. Okay, so it will check if P is from A to Z. If yes, then return that into as an element in my list. Why? Yes. T. It's also character. Now we have digits, right? It is not from A to Z. So if you see the result, so I'll get this P, Y, T, H, O, and other separate elements, and this will not be there. Okay. Now we do not have this capital P also, right? Because that is not from A to Z. Now let's say you want to make it for capital also, you will just say A to Z. Okay. Again, this will for single character. Now let's say I want the entire string which contains only Python, right? So I want any number of characters, but not the digits, right? For that, I have two operators. One is star and another is a plus operator. Okay? Now this star is for zero or more occurrences. Okay? And this plus is for at least one. Okay. Now in this case, I'm using my star operator here, which means search for a pattern that is between small a to z and capital A to Z, and there can be any number of characters. When I'm specifying this, it specifies just match up with the single character. I'm saying it can contain any number of characters. So in this case, I'll get this Python as a separate string. Okay, clear? Okay. So my star operator will match a zero or more occurrences of character, right? Now I'm saying match up with, so I'm saying something like this. When I say something like this is for, yeah, but this is for, so when I do not specify any operator, this is for single character, okay? Now what I want this entire string Python to be matched, right? Now this is a separate element, right? This will just match up with a single element, right? But what I'm saying, search for a pattern which contains any number of alphabets continuously.
Okay, till the characters.
Exactly. So I'm putting star. Now let's modify. So I'm saying Python. Okay. Now I'm saying something.
So you can skip the numeric characters.
Now, so if you see, this is one pattern. That is what I'm saying. A to Z, right? Any number of characters. So it will start from here. Okay, A. But I have told that any number of characters. So P plus Y is also valid. Then add T, that is also valid. H also valid. O valid. N valid. Now next element, that is digit. So this is not my pattern. So search for this much only. So this is one value, right? Now nextly digits are not allowed. Next thing is another string. So this is again digits. So this will be another pattern.
It's like a string something.
Exactly. Exactly, I'll explain. Okay. Now this star will match with zero or more number of occurrences, right? Now in between you have this 9 and 9, right? Now if you compare this 9 with this thing, okay, 9 is a digit with zero number of A to Z, right? That's why it's giving me the space, because zero is also allowed in this. Now what if I make it plus? I'm saying that at least one character should be there, then only it is a valid pattern. Okay, so this is the difference between my plus and my star operator.
Okay.
So, exactly. So star is for zero or more number of occurrences, but in case of my plus, there should be at least one character. Okay. Now my next class is digit class, that is 0 to 9. Print for star, alright. At the end, so at start we are not getting anything.
No, it should be null factor.
Because we are not specifying anything.
No, we don't specify, but compiler will take it as null factor. I mean, as you see, it can be. If you bring the end of, let me say, S of.
But if I just put S of minus 1, it will be G, right? My last thing is G actually, and that is valid thing, right? But still this piece, yeah.
That will take as a character, right?
Yeah.
That will be made to
I guess that is maybe slash n.
slash 0. If we have slash 2,
At the end.
Yeah. So
but that is not from A to Z.
It is not in that alphabet range.
I'm just checking for A to Z. Maybe check again. Now same is I have a digit class also. If I have to match up with the 0 to 9 only, I have digit, right? Now just try to define a pattern for PAN number. Okay. If I'm not wrong, I have first 6 are my alphabets. Sorry, yeah, first alphabets. Then I guess 4 digits, and at the end I have another character, right? Okay, it's better to
first 5 characters are alphabet.
Yeah, first five.
Yeah.
First five alphabets,
And the
4 digits, and then at the end there is another one character. But I guess I'll need to extend few more concepts. Okay. So I have a digit class. Next thing, that if I want to match up with something which will only contain digit. Now in the same example, if I want digit, okay, now I just say 0 to 9. Now if I just put 0 to 9, I'll get 9 as a separate element and this 9 as a separate element. What if I want it together? I'm saying 0 to 9, at least one occurrence. This will give me 99. Okay. Now if you want to match up with the start of the string, okay, so we have covered dot operator, a to z, this, star and plus, right? Next thing, you have to specify if something starts with a specific thing or not. Okay, I can use this caret operator. Let's say you want to strictly say that your string will start with characters only. Okay, so in pattern, I can say I'll put caret operator, and let's say I'm saying there should be at least one character at the start. Okay, this is my string I'm saying, right? Now I have a string which contains, let me make it capital A to Z, right? In number, find all and I'm getting this. Now I'll not get this thing. The reason is it should start, my string should start with this character only, right? Now here there is a break in my pattern, right? As I got digits, so it stopped here. So this is one pattern. I'll not get this pattern because this is not a start of my string, right?
So this start of the string.
Exactly. So this will exactly compare with the start of my string. Okay. Now if I add a digit at the start of this, I'll get none in my list. Okay.
But you can't specify the same balances like 0 to 9.
Well,
we specified A to Z and A to.
So that can be anything. So caret is for starting. Now you can enforce anything. So here I'm enforcing there should be character. Now if you want starting should be digit only, you will say there should be at least one digit, right? Now in this case, I'll not get anything. But if I put a 9 here, yeah. So I'll remove the star. I'm saying small a to z, capital A to z, 0 to 9, right? Now I'm specifying everything. Now if you see, so I have, oh, I'll say plus. Now I should get everything here. The reason is 9 is okay, so this is character, this is continue, so I should get all. Okay. Clear? So I guess we will still get that end one. Yeah. Alright. Okay. Alright. So this is my star, this is my plus, this is my start with. Similarly, I have a dollar. So dollar means ends with. Okay. Now if I want to restrict that my string should end with a character, then I'll put a dollar at the end. Okay. Now I'm removing this. I'm saying at the end there should be a character only. Okay. Now if you see in this case, my starting can be anything I'm saying, but there should be characters, so it will start from P. It will search it. Now this is the end of this pattern, right? Right? But this will not consider it. Reason is this is not my end of the string. So I'm explicitly specifying that end should be character. Okay. What if I say,
YG?
so this is my last character.
Okay.
Okay. So now I said any number of characters ending with, and but my end should be character only, right? Now if I put end something else, my this string also will not be considered as a pattern. Okay, I'll get blank. So compulsory, it should end with a character. Okay. So we have seen start with, we have seen ends with. Okay. What is this question mark? So question mark shows optional part. Okay. Now let's say I'm defining. I have a string, something called Python 3. Okay. Now the integer part here is optional. So even if I get something like this, it should recognize as my valid pattern, right? So either Python 3 should work and Python only should work, right? So how to specify that? Now how to create a regular expression? Re dot compile. Okay. Now one thing I guess, so try to make all your regular expression as a raw string. Okay. Regular expression. This what I'm saying I want, so that can be any number of characters, right? How should I write it? Any number of characters. No, no. I say plus. After that, there can be a digit, but there it's completely optional, right? For that, I have a question mark operator. Let me end my string here. So this is my pattern. Now let's try to apply this on my result is equals to r dot find all. What is my regular expression? String. Print me. Have I commented input also? Attributed find all. Now I'm getting Python 3, so this question mark, so accepting this. I'm removing this. This is also fine. Okay. So if you want to specify any part as a completely optional, then we can see. So the example of this can be. Even though the string is Python 3, whatever result get maybe Python also. Yeah. May not be same as like. Yeah, sorry. String whatever you are giving Python 3. With this output, we may get either Python 3 or Python. So it should accept both these values. So if I have something like this, I'm specifying. Let's say I'm specifying versions of Python, right? Now both are my valid. Okay. So I do not have any strict restriction that it should only give me the digits, and it should not give me the number in front of them. Okay. So either this is fine and this is also fine. So this part is optional. Another example we can say, so let's say I'm specifying the months, right? Now if I say January, I can either say Jan or I can entirely specify January, right? So that UARY part is completely optional. So that can be there or that cannot be there, but that is also valid pattern. We are saying something like this. In that case, that part you can specify as an optional. If you want something to be specified as an optional, I'll use my question mark. Okay. Clear? Alright. Now we have seen my star operator and the plus operator, right? So, but that will accept any number of strings, right? Let's say I want to put some strict restrictions. I need to modify the same. Okay, I have something like this. I'm mainly checking for a date, let's say. Okay, so this is my year. Now, year it can be something. So if I just say 0 to 9, right? And if I put at least, so in that case, even if I specify this 20, which is invalid, it is also accepted, right? I want only 4 digits here, compulsory. Okay. So in order to put such restrictions, you can specify in a parenthesis. Okay, 4. Now in this case, if I do, I'll not get anything. Getting it. Okay. Now in this case, I'm still getting this 5, right? In this, you have to put one more restriction here, that it should start with this also and end with only with 2 characters.
So 4 specifies the number of characters.
Yeah. Still it's giving. Let's start with 0 to 9 and the 4 restriction. Oh, okay. What if I want only 4? 5 is not. So in this case, this was accepting this, right? So this will not work if I provide 2 numbers, right? If I have something like this is working. Now this case, this is working for this also, right? But what I want, start with this 2 characters, end with also. In that case, this is invalid.
Start with 4.
So I'm saying there should be digits at the start. There should be 4 digits only, and that should be the end of it only. Okay. Now here you will say the reason I am putting this restriction is, now if you do not provide this, getting what is happening? I put this. This is not recognizing my pattern. This is not taking this as valid pattern. This is accepting this.
So ends with 4 characters. Okay.
So what I'm saying, it should end with 4 characters. Okay, that is fine. So it will start for it. It will check for end. Okay, now from end it will defaultly take 4 characters, right? So, but what if I want there should be only 4 digits here? That is the only restriction I want. I do not want 5, that thing, right? If I do this, this is accepting last 4 characters and it's matching with it, right? But what I want, so it should be a start also. Okay. Now it was giving me the last 4 digits. Okay, so this was showing me last 4 digits, but when I specify start, this is not showing reason. This pattern starts from here, right? Now this is not the start of the string, right? That's why this will not consider. If I provide a greater the number of values greater than this 4, this will not shut down. Now this you can use for your phone number validation also. This will restrict you. Yes, I'll get empty. Okay, but if I just remove this start, if I remove this,
So you will keep start and remove it.
see, if I start it, I put 0 to 9, so this will give me starting 4 characters. Right?
So when you put the end dollar sign, right?
Uh-huh.
It will start with the numeric character.
So I'm saying start will should be numeric. Okay.
That is one.
So just imagine the case of valid phone number. So this is my 10 character number, right? Now if I make it 10, alright, this will work. Right, this is accepting what I want to do. Okay. Let's start with this. Okay. I'm saying 0 to 9, there should be 10 only. Right? Now this is my valid input, accepting, right? Correct giving. Now if I provide a less than value, not work, right? Not valid parameter, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm making it 13. Now I'm saying 0 to 9, 10. Now if you see, so it will start here, okay. You have specified me to check for a digit and the 10 digits only. So it will start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is my pattern. Apart from this, I am not allowed to check. So I just take 10 digits. Right? Now this is not something I will be looking for, right? So in this case, if I specify a phone number greater than 10 digits, this is working, right? Now, what I want, it should be exactly the 10 digits, right? So it should start with digit. Okay, so it will say start with digit. Okay, and once the 10 digits are counted, that should be the end of this string. There should not be anything after this.
Okay.
Okay, now this is more than 10, so this is not accepting, right? Which is correct, right? If I'm specifying a valid phone number and I add 5, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is how I can put restriction. Now let's say you're writing country code, right? So for my country code, I guess 3 or 4 value both are accepted, right? So this is also valid country code, I guess, and this is also valid country code. Although 001, this is valid, and I guess 0001 is also valid country code. Okay. So if you want to put such restriction, that if you want to specify 3 or 4, okay. So this is accepting this, accepting 3, not accepting, not accepting. Uh-huh. For a phone number, right? Yeah, we can do map. Yeah, try this as an example. So you have to check.
For example, plus 9.
Okay, so just check for the Indian now, right? So the pattern will be 9-1 initially. Now this is a fixed pattern, right? If you're checking for Indian numbers only, right? So how I'll write it? Let's say I have two numbers. So I'm saying plus 9-1. Mm, let's say 9, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? If I want a regular expression for this, you will see this plus 9-1. This is my optional part, right? After that, there should be 0 to 9, 10 digits. Now we have to check for this, and there should be an end. Mhm. Now if I put start something like this, okay, let's check this. So this is valid one. Let's see if I'm matching this. Am I specifying something outside of this? Compile. So this is my string. That optional part. So this we can use full brackets. Yeah, yeah. Nothing to repeat at position. If I add, remove this. If I put character there. This is not accepting. Just remove optional part. Check this. This is also not. Okay, so if I put parenthesis, it will check for parenthesis option, right? Mm, I should provide groups like this. Right, so I not want that thing, so slash plus 9109. Check. Okay. The reason is now this will just take this one as optional part. It will start with we should not have the option. Just leave it. I mean, actually, this is checking for brackets also.
But we want to finally print the last 10 numbers.
I mean, yeah, so this is not considering this as a valid pattern. So if I say plus 91, right? So it should work in both the cases, right? If I just provide this one, it should work. Or if I provide this 91, it should work. Okay. If it's a single character, okay, I'll just shoot for 0. It will work for sure. How to provide multiple optional characters. So I'm saying 0, which is optional. Okay.
Because I specified 10 numbers.
Mm-hmm.
99234
Mm-hmm.
I just said 09 10 and it is
Yeah, yeah. So you are completely neglecting this line part, not at all checking. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So even if now I would choose, yeah, exactly. What is it blocking? Okay. Yeah. So the problem is
Just put plus 9
let's try for 9 1. Okay. Just remove the plus. We will see handle the plus again. Hmm. Now remove 9 1. Oops. So actually, so it's considering only one as optional character. How should I? This bracket should work, but in this case, this is accepting as inside of a bracket. This is considering as a pattern in a bracket. Now, if I say something like this, okay, so 9 1, this is my pattern, which is optional. Still no. Hmm.
Use that vertical picture.
Yeah.
How you use there you just use 9 1.
Uh-huh.
That just use the normal picture.
This one.
No.
Curly brackets.
No, zero triangle use that.
The square brackets.
Square bracket.
Alright. So I'm saying square bracket, character must. Yeah. What if I put start with 9 1 and optional. Oh. So the question is how to make multiple values optional. That's one thing needs to be searched for. So for 0 it's working. 9 1 helps. Now I guess you can try for that pan example to check if it's valid pan number or not. Meanwhile, I just clear all this.
So there only one method.
I will see, we'll see. We have to go. Yeah, sure. Go upstairs. Move it around like this. Yeah. We combine A to Z by at the end. So at the end, if you specify more, also this is
more. But I given one right.
only one, right? But if you specify 0, it will not consider. If you give 2G, it will just first forget 1, right? Try 2G at the end. It will just simply ignore it and it will consider as a valid pattern.
Right. No. So it should be like
The application part of it is like mostly used for pattern searching.
Yeah.
the
No. Yeah. Correct. Now I have some special keywords. Let's say we can call it as wildcards. That is /d. Okay. Now /d is exactly same as my 0 to 9. Okay. So instead of 0 to 9, specifying the character class 0 to 9, you can replace it with /d. Okay. Now, second thing is I have /D, which means anything other than 0 to 9. Okay. Now keep in mind, if this caret, if you specify outside of the square bracket, which means I want to check if it is starting from 0 to 9 or not, right? But by mistake, if you put it inside, so this works as a complement. Okay, so meaning of caret inside of a character class, which means anything other than my characters, anything other than my digits, sorry. So this is like a complement. So it will check for anything other than 0 to 9. Okay. If I specify it here, yeah. If I specify it here, which means stuff. But if I specify it inside of this is a complement. So either you can write this or you can say /d. If you want to match space, I have /s. Okay. If you want anything other than space, capital S. Okay.
What does that space means?
All the characters, digits, special characters, anything, everything other than not considering space. Okay. I have slash W. So slash W is alphanumeric plus underscore. Okay. So this will same as my A to Z, capital A to capital Z, 0 to 9 and underscore. Okay. If you want to accept all these values, you can just say slash W. Okay. Now, if I say slash capital W, which means complement of this. Okay. That means all other special characters. Okay. I do not have explicitly anything only for characters. Okay. I have only this thing slash D slash capital D slash S for space slash capital S other than space slash W for alphanumeric slash capital W for other than alphanumeric. Okay. So instead of using this such character classes, you can just replace with this value. That is also works fine.
What to come?
Wildcards.
Wildcard.
Okay.
So if substring has any numeric, so that can be compared to stack, right?
Exactly. So I'm saying R is equals to RE dot compile. Oops. So we have seen mobile number, right? We have 10 characters. Alright. I'm defining my regular expression as raw string start with 0 to instead of 0 to 9, I'm saying slash D. I want 10 and that should be the dollar, right? So this is equals to now let me introduce one more method. I have a method called re.search. Now re.search will search for the first occurrence of this pattern in the string you are providing. So find all was checking the pattern entire string, right? Now search will check for pattern. If it finds one pattern, it will stop searching there. Okay. So syntax re.search same, you will pass the regular expression, you will pass the string. Okay. Now the search method will return you the match object actually. If it matches something. If no match, it will return me none. Okay. See, so this is returning me a match object. Okay. Now if you want to print value of this, you have to use a method called group. Okay. Now this will print you the values. Okay. Now if I specify yeah. Now if I'm specifying something which is not a valid pattern, right? In that case, I'll get none here. Okay, so this will return me none. So that's why if I'm trying to invoke group method, so now you are actually trying to access this group method for your none object. So this will throw me a error. So always if you're using your search method, you have to say if m, that means if m exists, then only this to m dot. Okay. Is it valid? Okay. In case of invalid, I will not get anything. Alright. Now what is this group actually? Why they are calling it as a group? Okay. So let's say I'm defining a date pattern. Okay. array.compile. I'm saying my valid date format is td/mm/yyyy, right? So how I'll write the regular expression for this? Okay, no, so this will be digit, right? Okay, so it should start with 0 to 9. I'm using slash d. How many? 2. Right? Then there should be a hyphen. Okay. Then there should be again slash d 2 hyphen. There should be again slash d 4, and this should be the end of it, right? This is how I'm defining the pattern, right? So this is date and month. So while writing it, I'll write something like this. Something like this. Okay. So I'll say text string is equals to again 24 5 something like this. No. I'll say is equals to re dot search of this regular expression comma string, right? If m then print re dot loop, right? M dot loop. Okay, I'm getting the pattern, right? Now I'm getting entire pattern, right? It's matching. So if I put anything invalid, that's not working. So my pattern is working correct, right? Yeah. This will not work.
Regular expression, right?
Uh-huh.
Why do you take hyphen?
So to match this hyphen. So while writing the date, I'll just specify something like this. Date separated by hyphen, month separated by hyphen, then the year.
How does it pass it like?
Exactly, it's exactly matching with hyphen.
Okay,
yeah, yeah. So if I do not pass this will again cause me error. So I need to consider.
We should consider here
so my pattern says it should be
instead of 04.
Okay.
84 also should get.
So I'll say something like this, right? Now if someone gives something like this, okay, this is accepted. Okay, now we have this group method. Okay, if you want to extract something from this, let's say you want to extract the day only, you want to extract the date from this, right? Just put the parentheses. Okay, now what I'm saying, okay. So if I specify brackets around my regular expression, so this is used to specify my groups. So this will be defaultly my first group. Next is I'm specifying for my year. So this will be my second group. Indexing will be this is first, this is second, right? Now this I can use in my group method. So I'll check for a pattern. If I have a valid pattern and from that pattern, if I want to extract something, I can use this group thing. Okay. Now I have a valid date. So if it's valid or not, I'm checking here using this re.search. Now if I get a valid date here, if I have a match object, from that, let's say I want only a date. Okay. Now if I do m.group of 0, this will give me the entire matching string. Okay. If I give 1, this will give me the first group. Okay. If I put 2, second group. More than this, error. Okay.
And if you have taken the second one, there is
There is 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so this is that is why the reason of the name of this method is grouping. So so this is not just for printing whatever matching. Okay. So main use is to group whatever you have extract and just collect some specific thing from the extractor. Yeah. So this is my search method and this is my group method. Okay. Now this search method, how it will work? It will search for this particular pattern, okay, in the entire string, right? Now let's say you have something file content and this date, right? And you want to extract for this pattern. Okay. I'm saying 0. It will start from this string. It will check invalid, 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 invalid. Okay, this is useful. Collect it, correct, check it, check, check. Okay, it's valid, accept it, right? And return. What happened? Okay, I'm specifying start. All right. This is accepted, right? So it will exactly search will check for only one occurrence. If I have to find multiples, I have to use my find all. Okay. Now another method I have that is called as my match. In this case, we have seen I'm not explicitly specifying the start here. I have this file content and there is one date, right? I want to extract this date from this, right? This is my purpose. Okay. If I do search of it, it is ignoring this part and this is returning me only this date. Now this is working fine, right? I have another method called match. Okay. Now what is match? Match is something defaultly this is this. Okay. So match will search for the pattern compulsorily at the start of the string only. Okay. So even if you have a pattern which exists in the string but it's not at the start, it will not provide. You will not get anything. If same, I'll just copy, paste it here. I'm specifying start. No. No, re.star, I'm saying 1, 2. I'm getting them. I'm getting them. So do specify and yeah. Okay. So this match will only search for the pattern at the start of the string. Defaultly, this it will add character, something like this. If I search for the same here, it will not work. Okay. But if I try to do the same with my search, this will search this pattern. Okay. So what is the difference between my search and match? The search will search for a particular pattern across the entire string. My match will search for that pattern at the start of the string. Okay. So what is the difference between my find all and my search? So find all will search for the pattern and it will return all possible results in a list. In my search, it will check for the pattern. If it found one pattern, it will return the pattern as a match object. Okay. Clear? So you can try for the telephone number. So you can try for valid URL. Then other number, I guess other number will be very simple. Valid IP address. but you can try. URL is really challenging. I mean, for URL you'll have a lot of combinations, right? So if you see, so URL is really good example to practice. Email ID is really good. So practice this thing.
In a regular expression, can we have something like one string or the other string?
No, the two patterns at the same time.
No, there is one pattern, like you said, something like USB or E.
Mm-hmm.
So these both characters.
No, no, no. I mean, or can be used, I guess, but entire two patterns we don't have any method to specify that. So in single pattern you can specify, okay, this is or this or this.
Let me say I have to compare with the particular.
Yeah, this is. But this operator.
I have another string. So this is a pattern which I defined.
Mm-hmm.
This I have a string. USB here. I have to compare with this. How do we? This ends with slash d. That means it ends with integer.
Mm-hmm.
So I can the string can be either
USB 0 or TPS 0 both. This is RE compile. R brackets. But I will compile this is entire USB. Yeah, so that also works actually. If we just specify one character, one entire string only.
ESP and static.
For all we check, let's see. Again, I'm saying add it or
For this, we will use
yeah. Compile, I'm saying just USB. Okay. We'll see the output or also. Just say, let's say ls equals to add it or search for this particular pattern. Now, this is not mandatory to define a compile method. Okay, you can define your entire regular expression here only. That is also perfectly fine, but it's not a good practice. If you need a reusability, always prefer this compile. String, I'm saying yes. So I'm matching this. Now, alright. So now it's only checking for USB. Now let's say I want to add two strings with space. Space and other characters. I want explicit. So what they said, they have two words to combine. So USB and should I use my or operators here? Okay, I got a match. So this is only one string.
should be all.
So this operator is not working. So this is for now I'm saying USB or ABC. Okay. Should I try this one? Yeah, this is working, I guess.
So our operator is all.
So yeah, this is working.
And it should be ending with integer.
Yeah, so that can be in. Just use slash e and dollar, right? This one. I think this slash T is private 029. No. And end with or UBC or PKR. I'm just doing this for USB only. Matching USB USB not matching USB working fine. So this will work now. Slash T not matching.
No, it's not. The string is not USB 0.
So not matching.
So slash T is wrong. Notation. It should be.
Should I? Yeah. Alright, so this is all.
Yeah. So our operator will work even in XML. We have some regular expressions.
In XML,
XML parts that we have.
So you use this thing in your office, something like this?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm working on Android, so we have something.
Alright. So something like this. Yep. Now this is what. Yep. So this is my regular expression, right? So we'll stop here for today. So in next class we'll start with my functional program. Functional program. Lambda function, map, filter functions, and iterables. Okay, generators and iterables.
So these are the functions in regular expression.
We have a lot of them actually, but yeah, just help. All right. Just place, search, match, match, try to apply the pattern to all the string. Okay. So this is the another variation of it. So if I search for match, full match, I have alright. Full match looks like similar to my search only. What is specifying difference? Scan through the scanning looking for match pattern, returning match. But I guess both will work same now. Full match and search. If I see, we have 4 or 5 more. Bhushan, any queries?
No, Kunal. I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Okay, then. See you tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.